Welcome to Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. This podcast delivers insights on what makes businesses, teams, and people successful based on real-life business experiences. Following a career with America's largest associations, JP Murray founded the Murray Company, one of Washington, D.C.'s most successful consulting firms. The company was acquired successfully and enabled him to launch JP Murray Racing, a business development and sponsorship agency for auto racing teams. Here is JP.
Hey, welcome everybody to episode number 15. The topics today, I got 3 of them for you. Should I pat the boss on the back, Showtime, and follow through? You know, it's an incredible showtime for everyone. Let's take on topic number 1. Every leader, staff member, solopreneur in business sees a decentralization of rules and structure. The chain of command in the business world that we have lived in has now many uncertainties. Changes happening at an unprecedented rate, and before we know it, entire industries are developed or they can collapse. There's an overall breakdown in the chain of command business rules and process, but I think there is upside to that. Approval is not required to start a business launch, a media company. I'm doing a podcast and I did videos today. I've got my own media company, folks. Getting access to capital through the bank down the street is not required. Because of the decentralization of the world, we as individual workers have incredible leverage. Think about how ridiculous things used to be. You remember this day? Everyone would get in an automobile, drive on the same roads, clog them up to a headquarter location at the same time of the day to do jobs that were completely different from each other in most cases. But if you think about it, it's kind of crazy. But that has changed now, and it will not return. We see the benefits of this decentralization all over in terms of opportunity. I read recently that Black-owned businesses are up 30% since the pandemic levels. I'm not here to go through all the reasons, but one could be that the Black business owner is not required to go to the man to get started. In a place where traditionally banks would loan only about 3% of all business loans to Black business owners. So that's a fact. But now traditional means to gaining capital have a lot of competition. And also the barriers to entry for starting a business are lower, less restrictive, and frankly, cheaper. In some ways, this decentralization results in a blue ocean. There is plenty out there for everyone. But here's the trick. You better be good at it, because you will not be able to rely on an organization or an industry inertia to carry you on for decades. We all know people that could show up for the job and frankly, no one would ever notice if they were working or not. No longer. The lights are on and there is nowhere to hide. Or you can look at it as showtime. I also want to speak with you about encouragement and congratulations. Last week, I received my copy of Washingtonian magazine. It was an edition of the 500 most influential people in Washington, D.C. Awesome. You know, I don't know how they come up with a list. Probably people that will buy ads, but that's beside the point. In fact, I had some clients and friends that were on there. That's great recognition. And while you think leaders or people of influence get an authentic, you did a great job, I'm not sure it really happens that much. Not the nice job as you're walking out the door and you're not even looking at the person, but an unexpected, authentic congratulations. This doesn't happen very much. I'll give you an example and what it meant to me. I had a very simple note from a client, and they said, "You did a great job this weekend." It was awesome. I almost cried. The gesture was unexpected and very thoughtful. I also worked my fanny off, and I earned it, to be honest with you. So where is that opportunity in your circle? And you might want to look up, maybe at a leader you are inspired by, someone that's helped you, your boss. Because my bet, it doesn't happen very much to them. Or maybe someone you just observe doing a regular job, one that is hard, but not very many people are willing to do. taking out somebody else's trash, like yours. Let's look for those opportunities to encourage and congratulate, and let's spread some gratitude. My final thought for you today, could you do me a favor and focus on follow-through? Last weekend, I was with Juncos Hollinger Racing. We hosted about 25 partners and guests at the Grand Prix of Alabama. It was an incredible experience, and oh my gosh, the race team was awesome. Now, on the Monday after the race, I started doing all my follow-up to a number of people. It's exhausting because after a race, man, there's so much energy. There can be kind of a letdown or almost depression after the event's over. But what I've learned is quick follow-through is absolutely critical. Here's why. Closing sales deals takes approximately 10 contacts. Most salespeople stop at 3. Also, I've learned that time stalls all deals. The longer the deal is in place, the less likely it is to happen. So in racing and in some business presentations, there's so much adrenaline and momentum, there's almost a little bit of a letdown afterwards. You got to push through that immediately to maintain your energy, maintain the momentum, and keep things moving forward. Showtime, attaboy, attagirl, follow through. But I just want you to be intentional about these 3 things in your successful work ahead. Best wishes. I can't wait to speak with you next week on the Push to Pass podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. If you would like to sponsor Push to Pass, send an email to jp@jpmurray.com. Follow JP on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. His website is jpmurray.com. Until next time, push yourself to pass the competition. Thanks for listening.